Viewers, India is a secular nation, an open society where the right to freedom of choice is protected by the Constitution. You all know this, viewers. There is no law greater than those that derive their legitimacy from our Constitution. So it comes as a shock when a Muslim cleric of a fairly well-known sect decided to designate Mohammed Shami a criminal, a bad Muslim, calling for suitable punishment just because he did not keep the Roza or fast when he was serving the nation on match days. Viewers, under the Constitution, you have freedom to profess your faith. You also have freedom not to. And on a certain day, when you are putting the duty towards your nation first, surely you should be allowed an exemption. But no, viewers, the cleric on your right has a problem with this. And let me quote to you what Maulana Shahabuddin Razvi, National President of the All India Muslim Jamaat, has decreed. He says, quote, Roza is a compulsory duty for all Muslims. Shami's actions send a wrong message. Shami committed a crime in the eyes of Sharia. Shami should answer to God for not keeping Roza. Failure to keep Roza makes a Muslim a criminal. Mohammed Shami's kin, viewers, speaking on his behalf, as you know, Mohammed Shami can't react. He's serving the nation. He's bound by certain rules. But his kin, his brother, refused to be cowed down by this edict, by this fatwa, call it what you want to, and has hit back at the cleric for his regressive views. Listen.
आदमी कुछ भी बोल देता है, इस्लाम का गुनाहगार कोई मुसलमान एकदम नहीं बन सकता। और जब इंसान सफर में होता है, सफर के बहुत सारी गुंजाइश हैं। ये इमाम साहब को कुछ बुक्स पढ़नी चाहिए इस्लाम की, जिसमें साफ साफ लिखा है कि इंसान जब सफर में होता है और किसी के मुत्ताहिद होता है तो वो रोजा छोड़ सकता है और वो रोजा बाद में रख सकता है। ऐसा नहीं कि छोड़ दे तो छोड़ ही दे, वो रोजा बाद में रख भी सकता है। इमाम साहब को ये टीआरपी के लिए नहीं करना चाहिए।
He's dismissed him as a headline grabber, viewers, putting out a particular view, suggesting that if there is a higher purpose, a Muslim can suspend the Roza and then come back to it. Viewers, what can be a more higher purpose than serving your country? This is, of course, not the first time that celebrities have been designated heretics by clerics. September 2005, a diktat was issued against tennis player Sania Mirza. Sania Mirza was asked to cover up during matches. September 2007, a fatwa was issued against actor Salman Khan, targeted for attending Ganesh Puja Aarti. June 2013, a fatwa was issued against actor Shah Rukh Khan, SRK, targeted for hiring a surrogate mother. September 2015, fatwa issued against music composer A.R. Rahman. He was targeted over movie Muhammad, Messenger of God. June 2019, a fatwa is issued against former TMC MP Nusrat Jahan, targeted for un-Islamic Sindoor and Mangala Sutra. Now, these instances, viewers, of clerics assuming that they can speak for the faith and can label heretics or blasphemes certain members of their own community prompt some appropriate and legitimate questions. Who has given a certain section of clerics the authority to speak for all Muslims? That's the fundamental question. We are not, viewers, also, and question number 2, we are not a religious Islamic state. We are, viewers, first and foremost a constitutional secular democracy where all are equal and no authority is greater than the Constitution. How can Shami be a bad Muslim just because he has put his nation first, viewers? Is another question. In a secular country, can anyone be hounded for blasphemy? And can any law be greater than those that take inspiration from our Constitution, from that great book, viewers? Let's open this up. We have lots to talk about. We have this particular issue to get into. And I want to begin with Shahabuddin Razvi Barelvi, who is the president of the All India Muslim Jamaat. Bilal Khan, a lawyer, will also be joining us. But they're all coming in a while, viewers. Maybe they're all waiting and watching to see which way this debate is going to go. But I want to first bring in Mr. Nasir Abdullah, who is a God-fearing Muslim, I presume. And even if he is not, it doesn't really matter. Because viewers, we live in a secular country where you have the right to profess your religion as you want. So Mr. Abdullah, yes, I'll come to you, Dr. Ranganathan, but Mr. Abdullah, how do you view this diktat?
Yeah, very, very badly. I think he is really painting God to be a very dictatorial principal of a military school or something, which is just not true. He doesn't understand that one is allowed to abstain from fasting if there are issues at hand. One of the issues known is when you're traveling, you're absolved from the need to observe the fasting stuff, and it is fine. But it is very wrong. I think it is almost shameful. I am very unhappy to see a man talking like he's the right-hand man of God, Allah, and he is actually passing a judgment when he himself will be forced to accept the judgment of Allah himself. He is not a very clear man. I'm sure he has also made his mistakes, but he has no right to call any Muslim or anybody a criminal for not observing, one of the Ramzan days, because when there are issues involved, when you have to work with your hands and stuff, you are excused because it does not help the performance, especially if it is physical.
Let me then bring in. Let me bring in the Maulana Sahab. Maulana Shahabuddin Razvi Barelvi Sahab, President of All India Muslim Jamaat, is here with us. अब्दुल्ला साहब ने कहा कि आप गलत कर रहे हैं. पहले तो मैं आपसे एक मिनट, आपको हक भी नहीं है, आपको कोई, you don't have a right to pass any injunction, बरेलवी साहब. और मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं कि आप होते क्या हैं, आपकी हैसियत क्या है कि आप सब मुसलमानों को के लिए आप बोलेंगे? ये कैसे हो सकता है?
आपकी कौन सी हैसियत है मुझसे ये बात कहने की?
मैं एक पब्लिक नागरिक हूं, मैं एक नागरिक हूं और मैं नागरिक के तौर से आपसे सवाल पूछ रहा हूं कि आप सारे समुदाय, नहीं, अरे भैया चीखे नहीं, रिलैक्स कीजिए. 1 मिनट, लेट मी स्पीक.
आपने इस्तेमाल किया,
बरेलवी साहब,
कह सकते मैं आलिम दीन हूं,
बरेलवी साहब
हूं, आलिम हूं, फाजिल हूं.
हाँ, आप हो सकते हैं, मगर ये अच्छा, अब आप शाउटिंग मत कीजिए.
आप जो है ना
शाउटिंग मत,
गलत बात मत
नहीं, क्या गलत बात? मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं कि आप अपने आप को सारे मुसलमानों का, नहीं, आई एम आस्किंग यू, हाउ डू यू कॉल योरसेल्फ अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ ऑल मुस्लिम्स?
आपने शुरुआत गलत की.
कैसे
गलत शुरुआत
क्यों?
आपने की?
क्यों?
आपको ये जुमले इस्तेमाल नहीं करना चाहिए थे मिस्टर.
क्यों? क्या मैंने कहा है?
आपको ये जुमले इस्तेमाल नहीं
क्या
करना
मैंने कहा
चाहिए.
है? मैंने क्या कहा है?
मैं आपको पूछ लूं,
मैंने क्या कहा?
अभी आपको
मैं तो एक हिंदुस्तानी नागरिक हूं. भाई साहब, आप कौन है? मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं.
कौन होते हैं
बरेलवी साहब? मैं आपसे, अरे भैया,
डिग्री क्या कम्युनिकेशन ले लिया, एक डिग्री ले ली, बीए कर लिया, एमए कर लिया, आप गवर्नर बन गए, आप किसी का गला दबा देंगे, किसी का गला घोट देंगे. आप होते कौन हैं? आपकी हैसियत क्या है? आपने शुरुआत ही गलत की मिस्टर. आपको तमीज होना चाहिए.
आपने बोल लिया जो बोलना है, आपने भड़ास निकाल ली अपनी.
तमीज होना चाहिए.
रजवी बरेलवी साहब, आपने भड़ास निकाल ली अपनी. अब मैं भी आपसे एक जरा सवाल पूछता हूं, मेरी सवाल के तो जवाब दीजिए. आप अपने आप को, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, अब मेरी बात सुनिए, आप पूछिए भी. आप यहां चीखने आए हैं कि सुनने भी आए हैं और बात करने के लिए भी आए हैं? मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं, अब सवाल लीजिए. एतमान से मेरा सवाल का जवाब दीजिए. भाई साहब रुकिए, आप मौलाना साहब, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं कि आपकी क्या, आपकी
कौन होते हैं?
भाई मैं पूछ तो रहा हूं आपसे, मैं बता तो रहा हूं, अगर आप सुनेंगे तो.
Okay,
viewers, look how triggered this individual is. Look how triggered he is. He's gone completely apoplectic, viewers. He's completely lost the plot. I'm not going to get into, no, 1 second. I'm not going to bandy words with an individual who doesn't want to listen. How do we have a conversation if one person is constantly shouting? बात तो सुन लीजिए भाई साहब. आपसे मैं एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं. आप अपने आप को पूरी मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव कैसे बता रहे हैं? आप कैसे कह रहे हैं कि मोहम्मद शमी ने ये गलत किया या सही किया? मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, आप पाकिस्तान में नहीं हैं, यहां पर शरिया नहीं चलता, यहां पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन चलता है, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहता है कि हम सब लोगों को फ्रीडम है, हम अपनी रिलीजन को कैसे प्रैक्टिस करें, और अब्दुल्ला साहब ने यह हमारे को समझाया है। तो आप उनको जवाब दीजिए, मुझे मत दीजिए। चलो ठीक है, मैं आपके लिए कोई नहीं हूं, मगर इनको तो दे दीजिए, अब्दुल्ला साहब को, जो एक मुसलमान भी हैं और वो कह रहे हैं कि जो आप कर रहे हैं वो ज्यादती कर रहे हैं। अब आप उनको जवाब दीजिए।
ठीक है, अब आप जवाब सुनेंगे सब्र के साथ?
अरे मैं तो सुनने को आया हूं सर।
अभी बर्दाश्त के साथ, सब्र के साथ आप मेरा जवाब सुनिए, बीच में टोका टोकी मत करिएगा। देखिए, मैं आलिम हूं, फाजिल हूं, मुफ्ती हूं, मेरे पास में डिग्री है और मुझे अथॉरिटी दी गई है मसाइल शरिया की। अल्लाह ने मुझे जिम्मेदारी दी है कि मैं मुसलमानों की मजहबी रहनुमाई करूं। वो मजहबी रहनुमाई मैं करता रहता हूं और करता रहूंगा। वो मुझे कोई नहीं रोक सकता, ना अब्दुल्ला साहब रोक सकते हैं, ना आप रोक सकते हैं।
अच्छा।
अब कोई शरीयत की बात मुझसे पूछेगा कि फला ने रोजा रखा या नहीं रोजा रखा, तो मैं उसकी हैसियत बताऊंगा। इस्लाम में 5 रुकन है अहम, एक तौहीद, रोजा, नमाज, हज और ज़कात। इसी में से अहम फर्ज है रोजा रखना। अगर कोई हट्टा कट्टा है, तंदुरुस्त और तवाना है, कोई मर्ज नहीं है, तो वो रोजा नहीं रखता है, तो वो गुनहगार होगा। और अगर इसके कंडीशंस में जाएंगे तो बीमार अगर शख्स है तो उसके लिए उसके साथ इस्लाम रियायत करता है।
तो मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछूं, अब
मुसाफिर है,
मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछूं,
अगर मुसाफिर है तो उसकी कंडीशन अलग है।
अच्छा,
हाँ बताइए।
तो मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूं, आप कह रहे हैं कि वो एक मुजरिम है, क्रिमिनल बन गया आपकी नजर में, आप यही कह रहे हैं कि उन्होंने गलत काम किया है? अब मैं आप बताऊं,
क्रिमिनल मैंने नहीं कहा, मैंने क्रिमिनल नहीं कहा, क्रिमिनल नहीं कहा।
चलिए, आपने उनको बोला कि वो
तरफ से इजाफा
कि
कर
वो
रहे हैं,
कि
आप
वो
अपनी तरफ से संशोधन कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा ठीक है, तो आप कह रहे हैं कि वो सही मुसलमान नहीं है, वो मुसलमान का जो कोड है उसका पालन नहीं कर रहे।
ये भी मैंने नहीं कहा।
तो क्या कह रहे हैं आप
फिर
क्या कह रहे हैं? तो क्या कह रहे हैं आप?
ये भी मैंने नहीं कहा।
तो क्या कह रहे हैं
आप? वो बातें जो बातें मैंने
अरे बताइए क्या कह रहे हैं? एक स्टेटमेंट शम्मी जी के ऊपर आप क्या कह रहे हैं? शम्मी पे आप क्या कह रहे हैं?
मैंने मसले शरई बताया है, शरीयत की बात की है, कुरान और हदीस की रोशनी में मैंने।
अरे ठीक है, वो सब समझ लिया मैं आपसे बता रहा हूं, आप शम्मी जी को, आप शम्मी अरे भैया सुन तो लीजिए।
बुरा मुसलमान, क्रिमिनल मैंने ये नहीं कहा।
तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रहा हूं कि जो आपने ये बोला है रोजा इज अ कंपल्सरी ड्यूटी, Shammi's actions send a wrong. 1 second, Miss. 1 minute, please. Just give me 30 seconds. I'm having a heated exchange. Let's not add more fuel to this open fire, raging fire, viewers. Hellfire.
To cool things down.
So give me 30 seconds. No, you know.
गलत बात करेंगे तो फायर होगा।
Okay.
मैं बिल्कुल फायर होऊंगा, गलत बात बर्दाश्त
अरे भैया मजाक है, आराम से रिलैक्स। शुड आप कह रहे हैं,
मैं दूसरे मौलाना
भैया मेरी बात तो सुनिए आप।
जो आपके स्टूडियो में आते हैं,
ओह माय
जो
गॉड,
आपके स्टूडियो में आते हैं, मैं वो मौलाना नहीं हूँ। मौलाना शाहबुद्दीन कुछ मुख्तलिफ है, कुछ अलग से हैं।
हाँ ठीक है मेरी बात सुनिए अब्दुल्ला साहब, हाउ डू यू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दिस मौलाना?
Can I give him an advice, please?
Yes, please give him an advice.
Let people be.
Yes.
Let उनको, अगर उनको जहन्नम जाना है इस वजह से, तो आप उन्हें जाने दीजिए ना। आप उनको ऐसे चिल्ला के बुरा भला क्यों कह रहे हैं? Why is he announcing? Let him be. God will judge him. It is not for him to judge, because he will also be judged. The Maulana will be judged. So it is up to God. So it is okay. Why is he singling him out?
He is saying, Mr. Abdullah, he is saying that Roza is a compulsory duty. Bounder.
It has been. We are bound to observe it. But it is not a crime. It is not a terrible thing to do if you do not observe. Okay.
And especially if you are putting your country first.
And if you have.
He's not putting his religion in this matter. He's putting his country first. And that's how can anyone be faulted for putting their country first? This is what I'm not understanding.
You are excused.
Yes, मौलाना साहब की एक बात नहीं समझ में आ रही कि अगर आप अपने आप का देश पहले रखेंगे तो आप किसी की नजर में गलत कैसे कर रहे हैं, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही। और ये मौलाना साहब नहीं बता पा रहे. Anyhow, let's open this up. Let's open this up. Yes, Sanju Verma wants to. Sanju Verma wants to come in. Ayyar Mitra right after. Mr. Bilal Khan and Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan has raised his hand a couple of times. Now, okay, ठीक है.
मैं आपके सवालों का जवाब दूंगा.
Okay, मौलाना साहब अभी ठंडे हो जाइए. 2 सेकंड. आराम से 2 मिनट.
सवालों का जवाब दूंगा.
2 मिनट और लोगों की भी तो बात सुन लीजिए. अच्छा,
आपने ये कैसे कह दिया कि नहीं बता सके?
ओके
आपने ये कैसे कह दिया नहीं बता सके?
भाई मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि 2 मिनट तो चुप हो जाइए और लोगों की भी बात समझ लीजिए सर.
आप जो है वो
अच्छा ठीक है.
आप जो है
1 minute, let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, you're the only one who can drown him out. Yes, go ahead, make your point.
I don't know, Rahul, whether I should take that as a compliment or whether I should
Please.
take that as a snide remark.
Take it as a compliment with a red ribbon. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just have one thing to say. I don't claim to be an Islamic scholar or somebody who understands the nuances of Quran or the Hadith. But I did some homework before coming to your show, and I found that there are exceptions. There is something called a payment that has to be made if you have skipped the fast during the holy month of Ramadan, and you have to pay something called a fidaya. What is a fidaya? Basically, if you have skipped a fast during the holy month due to some necessity, then you donate a meal to a needy person, or you prepare a meal and you donate that meal to the person. In fact, there are foundations like the Hidayah Foundation which says you have to donate a meal which is valued at least $4 a day. The Islamic Relief Foundation of the United Kingdom says you have to donate a meal which is valued at least £5 per day.
Okay.
Then the Islamic Relief Foundation of Canada says donate a meal which is valued at least $10 per day. And then there is something called kafara. If you have skipped a fast, not out of necessity, but deliberately, then you have to fast for 60 days for every day that you have skipped fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, or you have to donate a meal to 60 people for each day that you have skipped fasting in the holy month of Ramadan. तो फिदाया और कफारा देकर शायद मोहम्मद शामी अपना गुनाह he can attain redemption, but that is not the point. My limited point is this. There is this entire bunch which went hammer and tongs at the BJP, which went hammer and tongs at some nameless and faceless trolls, and a lot of them were actually Pakistani origin trolls in 2021 when Shami was abused for his religion.
Yes.
What happened in 2024? While awarding him the Arjuna Award, the Prime Minister recalled the 7 wickets that he took in the semi-final versus New Zealand, the World Cup match in 2023, and said that we applaud him for who he is. We don't applaud him for his last name. And Yogi Adityanath said, to honor Shami, we are also building a stadium in Amroha. That is the Narendra Modi government for you, which rises above caste, creed, gender-related limitations when it comes to honoring the legacy of our sports persons.
Important point.
ये जो मौलाना यहाँ बैठे हैं, the last 20 seconds, I just want to ask the मौलाना one thing. The punishment under Sharia, क्योंकि बार-बार राहुल ये Sharia की बात आती है, so please give me 20 seconds. The punishment for theft under Sharia is amputation of hand. The punishment for armed robbery is amputation of both hand and feet. The punishment for adultery is death by stoning. The punishment for consuming alcohol is 100 lashes. तो मुझे ये बताइए, क्या आपने आज तक कोई गुनाह नहीं किया? गुस्ताखे रसूल की एक ही सजा तन से जुदा और तन से जुदा.
I really don't care much about what the Maulana has done or he's not done. I don't know who's going to judge him. Maybe his own God will judge him, and that's a pact between him and his God. But I just want to bring in Mr. Ayyar Mitra here. Mr. Mitra, what do you make of this complete fixated diatribe that we've heard? And Bilal Khan is here. He's a lawyer. Hopefully he'll take a more progressive view, but nonetheless, yes.
Look, this Maulana ji, he belongs to one school, the Barelvi school. How do you know if Mohammed Shami belongs to that school or not? He is not bound by what this gentleman has to say. If he is a Salafi, he has a direct connection with God. He doesn't need this sacerdotal function of this gentleman interpreting things for him. His relationship with his God, it's called ijtihad, which every Muslim has a right to interpret the text as they see it. And it is their personal relationship with God.
That's why I asked him. Who is he? How is he?
What jurisprudence does he have over Mohammed Shami? Zero.
That's what I asked.
Does Mohammed Shami even recognize this man's jurisprudence or judicial right over him? Zero. Nobody recognizes it except this gentleman seems to want to foist his rights onto that poor Mohammed Shami person.
And that,
right?
that is an egregious abuse of power. Yes.
And that is exactly what it is. This is not piety. This is power that is talking. This is a lust for power that's talking. This has nothing to do with piety. Second, Saudi Arabia itself does not mandate the following. There is no criminal offense anymore in Saudi Arabia if you don't. If you feel like it, then you pay the 2 fines that our friend was talking about just now, the kafara and the fidaya. And that is entirely dependent on you. It is dependent on the circumstances. If you believe that somebody is a teacher worth emulating or learning from, you go to him and then he tells you what to do as atonement for your sin. Right?
Yeah.
To go about and understand, there is no school within the Islam itself that says you are completely irretrievable to Islam. You are not a true Muslim if you haven't kept your fast.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
But this gentleman wants you to believe that it is completely irretrievable. His word is the word
No,
of
that
God.
is because...
He's assuming.
Because Mr. Mitra, 1 second, Mr. Abdullah, 1 second, because Mr. Mitra, these people think that they are living in an Islamic republic. That is the fundamental problem.
Now, the thing is, even if we were living in an Islamic republic, it is this gentleman who is more at fault than Mohammed Shami. You understand? Because at least in Islamic republic, you have the basic rubric of law which determines that there is jurisprudence and justiciable right over the citizens of that country. This gentleman doesn't even have that right.
Bilal Khan, let me ask you. I am not here to call into question anyone's beliefs, but I want to ask, who has given a certain section of clerics the authority to speak for all Muslims? Who is Maulana? Who is this Maulana Barelvi? Why is he speaking on behalf of all Muslims? Do you support him?
Roza is a farz in Islam, but ये no doubt जो शमी जो है वो देश के हीरो हैं, उन्होंने देश का नाम रोशन किया है, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आगे भी करते रहेंगे. लेकिन जिस तरीके से यहाँ बात हो रही है, मैं थोड़ा सा इसको डिस्क्राइब करना चाहता हूँ. जैसे अभी एक रोजा छोड़ने की बात होती है, अगर एक रोजा इस्लाम में फर्ज होता है, उसको छोड़ दिया जाए तो उसका कफ़ारा है 60 लोगों को खाना खिलाना है 60 दिन तक, समझ गए. लेकिन एक रोजा छोड़ने का जो गुनाह है, जो चीजें हैं, वो अगर पूरी जिंदगी भी आप रोजा रखते रहे, जो लज्जत, जो एक सेटिस्फेक्शन और जो एक फर्ज उसमें नेकियां लिखी गई हैं, वो कभी भी आप नहीं कर सकते, उसको प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर. लेकिन
तो आप कह रहे हैं गुनाह है.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी, मेरी बात सुन लीजिए प्लीज सर. आज जो लोग, जब से एक देखा गया है, मोदी जी ने कहा शमी को एक शाबाशी का दिया था, जब से ये बदल गए. उस वक्त ये लोग, जब शमी का वाइफ का इशू चल रहा था, ये लोग पॉइंट आउट करते थे, लगातार इसको शमी को कोसने का काम करते थे, गद्दार.
नहीं, ऐसा मत कहिए, ये गलत बात है, ये गलत बात है. ये कहीं प्रधानमंत्री जी ना बीजेपी ने ऐसे कहा है. बिलाल साहब, अब यहाँ अफवाहें मत फैलाइए, प्लीज डोंट स्प्रेड रूमर्स. नो रूमर्स प्लीज, नो रूमर्स. आई एम स्टॉपिंग दिस. दिस इज गोइंग completely now. No, Bilal Khan, I want to ask you a fundamental question. I want to also bring in Dr. Ranganathan. 1 second. Bilal Khan, ये सब गेम नहीं खेलना यहाँ पर. Don't play this game. Don't play this game. Don't play this game. 1 minute. Dr. Ranganathan, let me bring you in. How do you respond? You've heard a lot of this. I'm bringing you in. How do you respond to the Maulvi, Bilal Khan and his victim card and the others on this panel?
Rahul, for me, Mohammed Shami has been and remains a hero. He has done no wrong. He fights for India every single time, fights for her honor. But here's the thing, this is not about Shami. This is about not being politically correct. This is about saying the truth. This is about Islam. And if there is one axiom, it is this, that there is no such thing as radical Islam. Look, if I read and follow chapter and verse of the book Biochemistry by Leringer, tell me, do I become a radical scientist? A practicing Muslim who believes in the Sharia and every single word that there is in the Holy Quran is a good Muslim. While a Muslim who drinks, fornicates, indulges in idle talk or music, supports Muslim women who reject the burqa, draws a portrait of whosoever he wishes to, marries a non-Muslim, is homosexual, gives equal share of inheritance to females, does not fast during the holy month, and is fine with all of his fellow Muslims being all of the above, is a bad Muslim. Allah himself has said this. Now, quote, "O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous," to 183. Allah has defined just who a good Muslim is. 33:36, 3:132, 8:2, 49:15.
Right.
And every single time the apologists cringe at violence or retribution being ordered, they bring out the excuse of context or interpretation in order to hide the true meaning. In fact, it is the Muslims who are Islamophobic. That is the fear Islam. They fear to bring out the orders and the commandments of their holy book in its entirety on Jews, Christians, polytheists, homosexuality, apostasy, heresy, dress code, wife beating, blasphemy, because they fear being called illiberal and hypocrites. So they end up condemning and branding as radicals the Muslims who are faithfully following the fundamentals.
Right.
They
This
snare
is-
the fundamentalists but spare the fundamentalists.
Okay.
So
this
you
is-
may condemn the fundamentalist
One
who
line,
has
please,
declared
from me.
Shami to have sinned by not keeping the fast.
Yes,
But
yes.
can you condemn the
Rahul, I want to
fundamentals
quickly
that do
comment.
the same?
Oh, well, that's a very good point, viewers.
I
This is
quickly
more
comment?
elemental. Yes.
Can I make a quick
Yes,
point?
both of you
I
can.
quickly make a
One after
point?
the other. Yes. Miss Verma, yes.
Can I say
Thank you. You know, Rahul, can I please make my point and then you can
एक
come
मिनट
in?
इकबाल साहब,
Mr.
मैं आपके
Abdullah.
पास आऊंगा. Let them finish. आपके पास आऊंगा. हम कहीं भाग नहीं रहे. Yes.
You know, Rahul, through your show, I also want to address a certain section which was going hammer and tongs at the BJP in 2021, the likes of Rana Ayub, and I am under no compulsion to not name and shame, the likes of Arfa Khanum Sherwani, the likes of Farooq Darubi. You know, these are the people today who are silent when Shami is being guillotined by his own.
I agree with you, and I think Dr. Ranganathan has supplied the answer. You see, they will always
Arfa
spare.
Khanum kahan hai?
Yes, they will spare. Yes, yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes,
Can
this
I-
is.
can I
think.
make-
Yes. Go ahead. Please make your point, Mr. Abdullah. Yeah.
Yeah, here is the deal. I need to remind the Maulana Sahab that the basic lines, the beginning of the Quran says, "In the name of Allah, the beneficent and the merciful." Doesn't say he is hard, he's a dictator. You have to be afraid of him. This is what it says. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is what it says.
Oh.
The Lord Allah is beneficent and merciful and forgiving.
तो मौलाना
and most
साहब-
merciful. He's
मौलाना
making
साहब-
God to be like holding a rod or something, or a stick or a bamboo to beat up people. It's not the way
क्या
to
इस
view our
देश
God.
में कोई और कानून हो सकता है जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से बड़ा हो? सिंपल.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
मौलाना
you-
साहब,
you make
क्या
it
कोई
so
ऐसा
heavy.
कानून हो सकता है इस देश में जो संविधान के कानून से बड़ा हो?
Stricter than Allah.
Exactly.
They are stricter than Allah.
सवाल का जवाब दीजिए मौलाना साहब.
हाँ, जवाब दे रहा हूँ.
हाँ, बोलिए.
वो बीच में बोल रहे हैं अब्दुल्ला साहब, इसलिए मैं खामोश था. देखिए,
उन्होंने आपको चुप कर
संविधान
दिया.
की-
एक्चुअली आप खामोश नहीं थे, उन्होंने आपको चुप ही कर दिया. आपने इतने अच्छी बात
मैंने
उन्होंने
चुप्पी नहीं
कही
कर दिया, मैं
कि
चुप्पी
आपका
कर देता
एकदम
हूँ.
गैस
मैं-
निकल
मैं
गया. आई एम
चुप्पी
सॉरी टू
कर
से.
देता हूँ, मैं
यस.
चुप्पी कर देता हूँ. मैं चुप्पी कर देता हूँ, मैदान छोड़वा देता हूँ.
मैं आपसे एक सवाल
मैं
पूछ
मैदान
रहा हूँ.
छोड़ने वाला नहीं हूँ.
मैं सवाल
मैदान
पूछ रहा हूँ.
छोड़वा देता हूँ.
क्या कोई भी
मोहतरम
ऐसा
इस बात
कानून
मत
हो
करिए.
सकता है
इस
जो
बात मत
संविधान
करिए.
के
आप जब भी
कानून
बात करते हैं,
से
गलत
बड़ा
बात
हो?
करते हैं. जब भी
सिंपल.
बात करते हैं गलत बात करते हैं, जब भी कोई जुमला बोलते हैं गलत बोलते हैं, आप तौहीन की नियत से बोलते हैं. जैसे शुरू में आपने गलत बोला, अभी फिर गलत बोल रहे हैं. आपकी कैसी आदत है?
Okay.
आप अपनी
Okay,
आदत को
I'm ending
सुधारिए.
this
आप अपनी
gentleman,
आदत को
he
सुधारिए,
obviously has no answer.
मिस्टर-
Viewers, the basic question here that has to be asked is fundamentally this: can there be, in a secular democratic country, a law greater than that draws its inspiration from our constitution? The answer is a big fat no. Whether it is Iqbal the lawyer, and if he wants he can answer this question, but he won't answer that question, viewers. Iqbal भाई, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं कि क्या संविधान से ज्यादा कोई और बड़ा लॉ हो सकता है कोई in this country? इकबाल साहब, बिलाल
जी
बोलिए.
नो Shami संविधान से बड़ा कुछ नहीं है इस देश
बस
में.
बात खत्म, आर्ग्यूमेंट ओवर. बस फिर आर्ग्यूमेंट ओवर. Then the argument is over because under the constitution, Mr. Shami can practice whatever he wants at his leisure. And to brand him because some chap is sitting there and interpreting some law and trying to apply it is actually a travesty, viewers, of Indian constitutional law, which is what prevails. This separatism in the mind of certain individuals needs to be called out, and I beg the moderate Muslim community to stand up to these characters on the fringe. Please do so. Please do so. Today they are talking about Shami, tomorrow they'll talk about you. It'll become problematic. Look at Iran. I want to move on, viewers, because this is an important story that we're going to talk about now. The British government today ran roughshod over India's diplomatic sensitivities by allowing Pak-sponsored Khalistani separatists to breach External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar's security. You can see those pictures in the middle of your screens, viewers. That's the radical extremist who ran across the street, jumped in front of the car. Now, viewers, if this person had been armed, and there's no way of checking, he could have emptied out his weapon. He could have caused mayhem. Dr. Jaishankar stepped out of Chatham House. When he was on the porch, things could have gone wrong. Viewers, watch this group of Khalistani extremists carrying the Indian national flag and loudspeakers chanting slogans outside the Chatham House in London, where Jaishankar engaged in discussions with his British counterparts. Later, when Dr. Jaishankar was leaving the venue, a man ran towards his car and tore the tricolour in front of police officers as the matter escalated into a security breach. I'm not saying this, viewers. The British government has designated this as a security breach. India has condemned. And, viewers, a note verbal has also been issued today to the Shadi Affairs here in New Delhi, the British Shadi Affairs. We're expecting a statement from the MEA anytime now. We're hoping to hear more from the MEA as what triggered this, but a statement that has been put out is as follows. We condemn provocative activities, deplore the misuse of democratic freedoms. We expect host government to take action. Host government must live up to diplomatic obligations. Unquote, viewers. This is what the MEA says. The UK has expressed regret. It says strongly condemn Chatham House incident. UK upholds the right to peaceful protest. Bid to threaten public event unacceptable. Metropolitan Police acted swiftly. We remain committed to ensuring security. We are in line with international obligations. But as the facts reveal, and I always bring you the facts on this show, viewers, there have been one too many lapses which raise several questions. January 19th, 2025, K radicals halt screening of film Emergency in London. October 2nd, 2023, K protests at Indian High Commission in London. September 29, 2023, Indian High Commissioner blocked at Gurdwara in Glasgow, threatened physically, viewers, with violence. April 19, 2023, K radicals take down the tricolour at the Indian High Commission in London and burn it and trample upon it. All this was happening in the full glare of security. No one did anything to stop. Clearly, this isn't about respecting the right to free speech. The record shows, once again, some hard facts, viewers. The British police has been stricter in clamping down on radicalism when it concerns their domestic affairs. They don't want to extend the same courtesy to India, for instance. So, viewers, the police promptly acted on ex-police officer who's probed for transphobic post. There was no right to free speech then for that ex-police officer. But K radicals halt emergency screening in London are allowed to do so. The police in England acted on anti-monarchy protesters held after Queen's death. So a number of people came out and protested against the monarchy, saying we don't need this institution. Those people, viewers, were detained, held. There was no right to free speech then. But Indian High Commission protest, viewers, were allowed. Then anti-Hamas protesters were arrested during pro-Israel march. But on the other side, Indian High Commissioner blocked at Gurdwara and Glasgow, no problems. Army veteran held for praying outside the buffer zone around an abortion clinic in Liverpool. No right to free speech, viewers. But K radicals were allowed to take down the tricolour at the Indian High Commission in London. Clearly, viewers, there's a dichotomy. There's a reason, perhaps. This is not free speech, but a free run. Clearly, after Canada, it appears it is the UK that is going to go the Pakistan way and becoming a nursery for radicals. And I want to bring in, before I go across to Bob Blackman, Member of Parliament from the United Kingdom of the Conservative Party. Sanju Verma is also there with us. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, can you put this into perspective? I don't see this as just a mere lapse. You can't have a bunch of people who've been reportedly told that, look, they are a problem for us. They are a threat to our diplomats, our visiting dignitaries, and you allow these chaps to assemble. They're sitting and shouting slogans the whole day. The EM comes out. This man is allowed to charge. Now imagine if 10 of them had leapt there, they would have overwhelmed this police. What's going on?
You know, the first thing, Rahul, we should feel sad for are the British people themselves. Remember, the first victims of the Third Reich and Nazi Germany were the Germans themselves. Just as the first victims of this two-tier justice system we see developing in the UK are the British themselves. The problem is they don't seem to have the guts to come out on the streets and protest for their gradual, steady but systematic erosion of the civil rights of the country that gave the world, you know, most of its tenets of free speech and things like that, that led to the Industrial Revolution. That country is failing so spectacularly. The average Brit, forget the Indians out there. You know, with India, Britain's always had this double standard of supporting terrorism here, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of an attitude. But a two-tier justice system even within Britain, for the average Brit, look what the grooming gangs got away with. They came out on the streets to protest Boris Johnson having a party during COVID, but they don't come out on the streets to protest their own children being gang raped, usually with the aiding and abetting of the police itself, in some cases. You have a government out there that doesn't want to investigate the underage rape of their own children. You know, compared to what the average Brit is going through, we are enduring a lot less. But imagine, they have buffer zones around abortion clinics. Now remember, Britain is a country where you do not have the right to bear arms, unlike America. In America, at least, you've had cases where, you know, anti-abortion activists have gone and shot abortion doctors outside abortion clinics. That has not happened in Britain. You can't carry around a gun in Britain. But they still have safe zones outside these abortion clinics.
Because I'll tell you why, Mr. Mitra, and I think I just want to quickly refresh your memory. There have been a lot of legislators who have been shot in public meetings by Islamist radicals.
And now the worst part is Britain, the Britain of the Magna Carta, is considering Islamophobia laws, essentially blasphemy laws. Can you believe this?
I can't.
The mother of parliamentary democracy is considering blasphemy laws.
Oh my God.
It is insane.
It's insane. It's insane.
But what do? You know, we can't save the Brits from themselves.
That's true.
They need to save them from themselves. This is something...
But I have a question also for the BJP spokesperson, and I think you made a very valid point. So let me bring in Bob Blackman first, and then I want to bring in Sanju Verma. Bob Blackman, fundamentally, India's had a problem with the lack of security being given to its institutions on UK soil. And now a lapse has compromised the visit of External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. There were a large number, and you can see them on your screens, and you've probably seen these pictures of Khalistani supporters that almost overwhelmed the area around his car, and they have been known to be violent, even here in our country. So things could have gone out of hand. Now, how do you view this incident? This goes beyond a lapse in my book.
Very seriously. Obviously, the visit by the External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, is one that we welcome. That we welcome him as a friend in the United Kingdom. And obviously, his security is paramount whenever he's visiting any country in the world. This is a breach of the Geneva Convention. which requires visiting dignitaries and visiting ministers to be safeguarded. I've raised the question in the House of Commons earlier today in relation to this terrible incident of these Khalistani thugs who sought, or as you quite rightly say, sought to surround and attack the minister. Equally, of course, we saw on the video that has been widely shown, one of these thugs attempt to stop his car.
Yeah.
Now, if that had succeeded, of course,
Yes.
then who knows what would have happened in terms of the attack on him and his delegation. There is a concern. I've raised the concern, as I say, with the necessary powers in the United Kingdom to say to the Home Secretary, we need to look at what happened and why this was allowed to happen. My understanding is that the police were on standby, but they were in a vehicle nearby as opposed to being utilised to control the demonstrators. Now, in the United Kingdom, we have a long-standing policy that allows people to protest peacefully. And in fact, I don't think we would want to change that. There's a massive difference, of course, between protesting peacefully and attacking foreign ministers or foreign dignitaries. I also understand that the Indian flag was desecrated.
No, but there are double standards, because on certain other contexts, those laws are applied. Free speech is not given its due. And in this context, you seem to want to uphold it to the last letter and T. But why would the British government, given the past history, be so cavalier with Indian sensitivities, knowing fully well that these people are not exactly your so-called peaceful protesters? So why do you think they allowed this? It's my fundamental question to you, Mr. Blackman.
Okay, so we should be clear. Operational activities are led by the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. So we will be posing questions to him in the appropriate venue as to why the police weren't deployed, because they should have been deployed. As you quite rightly say, this is not the first instance. The Indian High Commission has been attacked by these Khalistani thugs as well. And we find that absolutely unacceptable. Action was then taken to prevent Khalistanis getting up to the High Commission in those particular instances when they were demonstrating. The reality is that this was an uncontrolled demonstration from what I can perceive from what has taken place, and questions need to be answered.
No, but this is...
the reality is that if people want to demonstrate, that's one thing. Another is totally a different thing when that breaches over into violence. And as you quite rightly say, people like this have a history of such violence, and therefore the police should have used the intelligence they knew about this crowd, in my opinion, to stop any of these attacks.
Okay, just a second. Let me open this up. Let me just bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, I want to ask you a very blunt question tonight. Why aren't we able to impress upon the UK government or pressure the UK government to take our sensitivity seriously? I mean, it could have been the Prime Minister.
You know, Rahul, first and foremost, let me make one thing very clear. I completely agree with Abhijit Mitra when he says that, the problem with Britain, be it grooming gangs or be it trying to give legitimacy to the rapes of 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, and then saying that, that is ordained by the Holy Book, or for that matter, trying to pass off Hindu phobia as Islamophobia. Britain has many problems to deal with. As they say, there comes a time in the destiny of a nation when you have to choose between the right or the wrong. There's no space for grey. And I'm sure, Bob Blackman would agree to that. But at this point in time, I don't have the luxury of making statements like Mr. Mitra. So I would like to read out what the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO of the UK, has said. They have said, we strongly condemn the incident that took place outside Chatham House yesterday during the External Affairs Minister's visit to UK. While the UK upholds the right to peaceful protest, any attempts to intimidate, threaten or disrupt public events are completely unacceptable. The Metropolitan Police acted swiftly to address the situation, and we remain fully committed to ensuring the security of all our diplomatic visitors in line with our international obligations. So I do hope that the statement made by FCDO is actually not just something like a flaky castle in the air, and they actually do.
It will be, ma'am. Let me tell you, it will remain. They will pay lip service till we don't squeeze them.
Can I?
And that's the problem. Mr. Mitra, yes. Why aren't we being able to squeeze these people? I mean, what should we do about this?
The problem is...
Are we doormats?
if unfortunately we are. If you actually look at this video, the copper is treating that Khalistani as some kind of an old friend.
Exactly.
The Khalistani.
I mean, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, let me tell you, go outside the British High Commissioner's home. There is a whole Gurkha battalion there. Remove all these chaps.
There is not just Gurkha battalions. There is also illegal roadblocks which they are technically, which the High Commission is not authorized to put.
No, we should strip them of all these privileges. They get here and they roam around with security, bandobast, left, right, tinted windows. Why should they have all these tinted windows if they treat our own people like this? There should be some reciprocation. Yes, Mr. Mitra.
The issue I would like Mr. Blackman to raise with the police when he raises this is, what is this camaraderie between the Khalistanis and the cops? Why was this man not arrested? Why are they treating him as some kind of a friend and a victim slash... I mean, that's coming through very clearly in the video. I think that is something that the London City Police really need to be
I have a feeling, and let me ask Mr. Blackman very quickly, do you think this K card is being used as leverage with some quarters, within some quarters of the British administration? I mean, I have this feeling that it is.
Well, there's no doubt there's some politicians, particularly on the Labour side, who may have sympathies with the Khalistani cause. That's a matter for them. But I'm afraid that on my side of the house, there is no sympathy for the Khalistani movement at all. And indeed, I understand, that obviously one of the issues that seems to be being promoted is what's going on in Canada with the Khalistani movement, where they've got obviously big ties with the current Canadian government, and Justin Trudeau seems to be their hero at the moment.
Okay, well, let me look. I mean, yes, we'll have to look at the response of the political class as a whole, because India is not something that divides supposedly the British political class into camps. So they should all come out and say, we've done injustice to EAM, we need to make amends. And Ms. Sanju Verma, I'm sorry, I think the best thing to do is to reciprocate. If they couldn't give us security outside our High Commission, I'm asking you, yes, please, why don't you remove it? Fix them here.
I would just like to make one thing very clear on your show. What happened outside Chatham House is deplorable, but I will not agree with Abhijit Iyer Mitra or with you for that matter when you say, oh, we are a country of doormats. We are certainly not a country of doormats. I hope you realize after the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in June 2023, when Canada accused us, we doubled down and expelled Canadian diplomats, and we
Malia is sitting in England, despite the courts having given him no reprieve. Choksi is sitting. No, that Nirav Modi is sitting in England.
We are getting Tahabur Rana back.
Several. No, I have a problem. When my country is not treated properly, and when my country's ambassadors are not treated properly, and when my country's ministers and when Indians are not treated properly, we've got to speak up for them. I don't know about Tahabur Rana. Let him come. He's already moving a petition and will be accepted. I hope it isn't, and I hope we can do something about it. But viewers, let me also tell you that same White House invited Khalistanis a day before the Prime Minister landed for talks.
Finish what I'm saying.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand that it's not easy for you to speak.
Have the conviction to bring Tahabur Rana to justice, which is going to happen very soon.
I hope so. I hope so. And I will be delighted. I will be delighted, madam. I will be delighted. I will be delighted. But let me tell you, you cannot expect the British government to get away by treating the EM in this manner. This should not be allowed. Strip them of all their security here in our country. Let's move on, viewers. I want you to now watch some more pictures, disturbing ones. Look at these pictures. You see a mob laying siege to the Indian state. You see the restive mob threatening to burn down a police station called the Old Hubli Police Station. This happened in 2022, viewers. You see men running amok, burning public property, police vehicles and pelting stones. The unrest in question began on April 16, 2022. So 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, following the posting of a derogatory image on social media depicting a saffron flag atop a mosque. This was meant to be a peaceful gathering, calling upon the police to act. But as you can see, it was anything but. Scores of policemen were injured in a night of chilling vigilante justice. These people took the law into their own hands, but thankfully, because all the rioting was caught on camera. Many were arrested under the attempt to murder charges for rioting, for destroying public property and threatening the instrumentality of the state. But now, viewers, our bureau chief Harish Upadhyay, yes, once again, viewers, breaking a big story, has discovered that under Congress rule in Karnataka, these communally minded anarchists are being let off. Yes, wholesale. The Karnataka government has concluded that these men are innocent. Yes, just like that, orders have been issued, even though the courts are still deciding the matter. More worryingly, the decision to close the cases has been made despite the police, who are the victims, warning against taking such a step. In fact, the government's own note mentions that, quote, the police department, Department of Prosecution and Government Litigation and Law Department were consulted and their opinion obtained. They are of the opinion that the cases are not fit for withdrawal, unquote. So even the police has been overruled, viewers. It's there on your screens. Can you imagine? The victim here is the police, and it is telling the government that it is not a good idea to exonerate these rioters, to reward their crimes. But the Congress administration has brushed aside this sage and considered opinion. Not only this, viewers, it has raced to give these Islamists a clean chit. It has raced, and I'm not in any way exaggerating. Look at the time frame. In about a month and a half, viewers, everything moves. A file goes from one to the other desk as fast as lightning. 10th October 2024, Cabinet decides to withdraw 43 cases across the state, including the old Hubli police station riots case. 15th October, 5 days later, 2024, official government order passed. 21st October, viewers, within a week, Law Department and Prosecution Department informed about the government order, asked to take necessary action. 6 December 2024, Special Public Prosecutor informed to withdraw old Hubli Police Station riots case. 24 December 2024, SPP, the Special Public Prosecutor, files a case withdrawal application in City Civil and NIA Court under Section 321 of CRPC. The case is listed for hearing on the 7th of April. It's sub judice, viewers, in the High Court. At least allow the High Court to rule. The High Court is currently hearing a PIL in the matter on whether the state can withdraw these riot cases. Just imagine what this will do to police morale. What is the shortest road to anarchy? The answer is simple. It is when society no longer fears the rule of law. And that's what will happen if the state undermines the police. Unfortunately, the hard facts show that this is not the isolated bid to appease minority community in the state of Karnataka. There's a litany of examples. But viewers, let's open this up very quickly. I don't have much time on this show. But I want to ask Dr. Ranganathan to give his point of view.
Rahul, this had to happen. If you remember, a couple of years ago, a demand by the Sunni Ulema board that a Muslim should get deputy chief ministership after Congress won Karnataka, and Muslims should get portfolios like home, health and revenue, is because Muslim leaders claimed 67 seats went to the Congress because they directed the Muslims to vote for it. 88% Muslims voted for the Congress. All Muslim candidates of JDS and AIMIM lost. Quote, we as a community have given a lot to the Congress. Now it is time we get something in return. We held an emergency meeting to ensure this, unquote. And that is what is happening. Look, opposing CAA, appointing Muslims on temple boards, curtailing the time duration traditionally permitted for Durga idol immersions to make way for Muharram procession, promising to give land to imams for construction of houses, their salaries, uprooting lampposts that have Hindu symbols. Rahul, please understand, changing demography shifts the government's decision towards appeasement. We have seen it in Bengal and we are seeing it in Karnataka.
Okay, so
And
one second. Let me bring in Mr. Abbas here. Mr. Abbas, you see, I'm going to be extremely fair tonight because the BJP government issued 7 separate orders to drop prosecution in 385 criminal cases. Yes, viewers, including 182 cases of hate speech, cow vigilantism and communal violence. It benefited over 2,000 accused when it was in power. The majority of communal incidents where the state governments withdrew from prosecution, benefiting over 1,000 accused. But the important difference here was, while the BJP may have in its time in office resorted to closing these cases, did it do so against the advice of state officials? No, it didn't. Here the police is saying, Mr. Abbas, here the police is saying,
fair
don't
point.
do this, please, don't reward this. Are you in favor of going over the police's opinion and a PIL?
Rahul Saab, that's a very fair point, sir, and huge respect to you. And thank you for bringing out the other side as well. Yes, under the chief ministership of Mr. Basuraj Bommai of the Bharatiya Janata Party, there were several cases which were against RSS workers, like you said, cow vigilantism, rioting, so on and so forth, which are also taken back. You're right about that. Now, you've raised a right question. When police has advised that this did happen, why did this happen? I have the right answer, sir. 30 seconds, I will answer you. There was a subcommittee formed under Chief Minister, under Dr. Parameshwar, who's the Home Minister of our state of Karnataka. That was also led by police officers. That was led by DCP. The fact of the matter is, out of all the 138 accused, only the 43, including our Muslim brothers, including our Hindu brothers, of the 43 where there was no evidence, there was no charge sheet, there were falsified cases, those were withdrawn and appealed to the court. Now the matter is with the court.
Okay, but Mr. Abbas, you know that the matter is with the court, and thanks for pointing this out. So let the court decide. Why
Absolutely,
this hurry?
sir.
Why short circuit the entire system? And this is what Dr. Ranganathan was saying. Opens the door for people to assume that there is appeasement at work, that. And I'm fortunate that one has to use such phrases, but a special vote bank is being is being specially privileged.
It is not, Rahul sir.
Just
Because
yesterday,
43
viewers, we had a story where they decided to give contractors of a particular faith, the Muslim faith, 4% quota in all contracts under 1 crore or to the limit of 1 crore. Why, viewers?
I will answer that.
No, I mean, we've gone
Rahul
over
sir,
it yesterday.
These are
Please.
only proposals.
No, they don't care about proposals.
These are only proposals.
These will become,
There's
what?
no draft
They're
bill
in
on this.
advanced stage. Hello, they're in advanced stage, sir. Please, and this is not a
No,
proposal.
no.
Documents
Rahul
are
sir,
moved
there's
and I've
no
shown the
draft of
files.
bill on this.
Please, let's not today try to cloud all of this in all of this. These things will happen. There are people who've testified to it. I just want viewers, you to remember what is happening in this country. We began this program today with a certain community saying that our laws prevail even above the Constitution. Thank goodness there were some sensible people who said it doesn't work like this. Now there is an exception being made under the law for a particular community. The court is hearing the matter. Mr. Abbas is saying, let the court hear the matter. He himself is being honest about it. I leave it to this, viewers, for your judgment. Vantage coming up with Palki Sharma next. Don't go away.
Засад рятувальників наразі ліквідовують наслідки. Медики, поліція, всі оперативні служби на місцях. Ліквідовуємо, допомагаємо. Намагаємось максимально оперативно ліквідувати усі пожежі. Уся інформація буде згодом щодо наслідків, щодо постраждалих. Ми працюємо.
India and US have initiated formal talks on a bilateral trade agreement this week, and it seems that the US government has sought zero tariffs across product lines except for the agriculture sector. Now, what we are told that Donald Trump is going to impose reciprocal tariffs on all countries, including India, from the 2nd of April. As of this moment, it looks difficult for India to have any carve out, but India would be hoping to offer concessions to the US and have some sort of agreement, some sort of deal before the 2nd of April so that we can.
Засади рятувальників наразі ліквідовують наслідки. Медики, поліція, всі оперативні служби на місцях. Ліквідовуємо, допомагаємо. Намагаємось максимально оперативно ліквідувати усі пожежі. Уся інформація буде згодом щодо наслідків, щодо постраждалих. Ми працюємо.
Четыре 10 перемещаться.
Дальше